and welcome back to my channel. This week I'm actually going to show you how I created my bell bag from Animal Crossing. To make the star, I created a star template with Photoshop and just printed it out on paper, and then I went ahead and traced that pattern onto some brown felt, and then I cut it out, taking care to make sure that it is symmetrical. I found this gold stretch velveteen at my local Joann's. It was just a remnant piece. It's almost a yard. And with this, I'm going to go ahead and fold it over twice so that way I have 4 layers. And I will cut a 8-inch circle out of it. As you saw, I went ahead and marked it from that corner 4 inches out in a curve and then went ahead and cut it out. And that is the bottom of the bag. With that same stretch velveteen, I went ahead and cut a 16 by 26 inch rectangle out. And I found the middle of that rectangle, and this is where I'm going to place the star. I measure about 2.5 inches from the bottom of the bag and pin my star on. With that on, I go ahead and I do a straight stitch along the edge of that star, as close to the edge as I can. Now I can go ahead and close up the back seam, and I sew a seam down the short side of that rectangle. With that seam done, I go ahead and pin that tube around the bottom of the bag. Make sure you take care that you do right size to right size, because the first time I did this, I had the bottom of the bag upside down. And with the bag pretty much done, you can flip it right side out. But if you're like me, I do not like seeing raw edges and unsightly insides of bags, so I added a lining. I also folded down my fabric about 2 inches down from the top of the bag, because I'm going to add some rope just to give it a little bit more structure at the top of the bag. So I took this white cotton rope and sandwiched it in between that fold of the top of the bag. With my zipper foot on, I went ahead and sewed that in, and I sewed as close to that rope as I could get. And again, if you want to stop here, that's fine too. You'll have a finished bag still. But I decided to put a lining in. I used this gold yellow cotton material and cut exactly the same pieces out. The 8-inch diameter of the bottom of the bag and the 26 by 16 inch rectangle. And I sewed it up exactly the same way, except for I did not add a star. And with the lining, I actually did cut off 2 inches of the top of the bag so I can accommodate for the gold that overlaps. So I have the gold bag right side out and I have the lining inside out, and I put the gold bag inside the lining so that way it's right sides to right sides, and I go ahead and pin the top of the bags together. As sewing, I do leave a hole that I don't sew on so I can flip it right sides out. With it sewn together, I go ahead and use that hole I left open and flip it. To close that hole, I go ahead and fold the fabrics in on themselves so you don't see the raw edges, and I hand stitch that close. I use a ladder stitch to do this so you don't see the stitches. For the red tie, I just found this corduroy type red material at my local Joann's, and I used about a 28 to 30 inch strip of it, and I just tied it around the neck of the bag. And with that, you have your very own bell bag from Animal Crossing. I do have these available in my shop if you would like to go ahead and purchase one. I do make them to order, and later this week I will have the downloadable pattern for purchase as well.